Well, hello there, family. You're listening to Fired Up Freedom with Steve Ryan. Fired Up Freedom. All right. Do you ever look for certain services or products and it's just hard to find and you want to know if someone else has used that before? Well, visit my resources page, steveryan.com/resources, steveryan.com/resources. All right. welcome, everyone. So today we're going to be talking about how does your self-language impact your mindset? This is a wonderful topic. And of course, the format that we've been doing is I'll give some notes, some thoughts. This one will probably take 5 to 10 minutes. And then if there's anyone who wants to come up and contribute to the conversation, that will be awesome. If not, then we'll wrap it up. Now we are in multiple places. So say hello to everyone. Right now we're on Twitter Spaces. We're on Clubhouse. We're on TikTok. We're live streaming in other places. So this is wonderful. So this is a wonderful meeting everyone here. Thank you so much. Now for those who want to speak, whether you're on Clubhouse or Twitter Spaces, for those on the live, I'm holding up the phone here. If you see these icons, these are the people that are currently in the live audio spaces. So if you're wanting to speak, just go to steveryan.com/spaces and either hop on the Twitter Space or the Clubhouse app and then request to speak, and you'll be able to actually participate in the conversation. So what you're going to do is just like the other days we've done before, you're going to be able to hear, whoever comes up and they want to talk, they want to contribute to the conversation. It's very orderly. What I'll do is call out who's coming up so that you know who's next. So if you hear someone's name, but you don't see them on the platform that you're on, that means just wait your turn until they go, because they're probably on a platform that you're not seeing. It'll be wonderful and orderly. All right. So let's just get started right away. I do keep these, no more than an hour or less. We finish when we finish, but I tend to not go over an hour. Sometimes we go for 30 minutes, sometimes 40 minutes, sometimes we're right at the hour. All right. So this is fun. So how does self-language impact your mindset? Why did I even, come up with this question? Because languaging is so important. Now, I'm Steve Ryan. For those of you who don't know me, or you may know me for like singing or writing or whatever else, some other things that I do outside of all those things is coaching, like life coaching, business coaching. And one of the biggest things that I see, one of the biggest things is people's self-language. What is self-language? Self-language is how are you talking to yourself? How are you presenting information in your own head to yourself? Because that impacts your actions. That impacts your mindset. Why is this important? This is important because it doesn't matter what you're doing. Whether you have some business goals, personal goals, whatever goals that you have, your self-language is very important. Now, as I'm talking about this, for those of you who have been here, I love to divide things in threes so that we're not processing so much. And guess what acronym is for today? Why. WHY. And I'll tell you what it stands for. What is your why? How can you transform in your belief? So that's WHY. And I'm going to talk about those three things. But before I do, I want to finish talking about how does language impact your mindset, at least from my point of view. I wrote this down. I didn't write many notes on this one because it's really boils down to one thing. Language can set up the mood and the energy of how you're going forward. Let me repeat that. Language can set up the mood and energy of how you're going forward. Here's an example. Let's say that I have a business idea. And let's say on this business idea, I say, I want to, can I really do this? Or you know what? Here's two examples. Option A is if I was to tell myself, I can do this. I'm really, really going to make this work. I'm going to find a way to make this work. Wow, I'm so excited. This is going to work. Or wow, I'm really excited. This is going to work. It doesn't matter if I feel energy or not. I'm an energetic person, so I get a lot of energy. But that sets up my mind for, okay, I'm going to discover a way for this to work. Whether I have to research, whether I have to network, whether I have to take some workshops and learn, whether I have to come to a Clubhouse room or a Twitter space or come live on TikTok or live on LinkedIn or Twitch or YouTube or wherever else, I'm going to discover why, or go to YouTube University or all of the above. But what if I took option B approach and said, oh, this is going to be so hard. I can't do this. I don't know if I don't think it's going to work. You know what? I don't have the experience and it's just not going to work for me. I'm not, you know what? I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to be able to do it. Then it's almost like this, it sets this energy up of like, why even try? Why even go forward? Because it's just going to be, I can't do it. And then that opens up the door to excuses. Now, I understand that sometimes there are legitimate reasons of why people may not be able to do something. I totally get it. You know what I mean? There's going to be situations that's beyond your control. That is human. However, how you handle those situations, your languaging has a super big impact on how you handle those situations. Now, I live by these principles. And how I'm coming up with these acronyms is I took a look back at my life and I looked at how did I accomplish certain things? What was my mindset? What did I tell myself? What was my approach? And a lot of times I had a lot of negative people around who used the word can't. You can't do that. You have to get lucky to do this. That's just for other people. You're not going to be able to do that. And in my mind, I'm like, no, I am going to find a way to make this work. And although we're not talking about the power of manifestation on this topic, I do want to touch on it for a moment. I personally believe in the power of manifestation with all of no one can convince me it doesn't exist. I've seen it over and over and over and over and over again. Throughout my life, I see it just about on a daily basis. Like how my day flows. It's just over and over and over and over, Languaging affects manifestation. I believe that. I super do. I'm not saying you have to believe it, but I've witnessed it. So I'm not saying that we can't have moments of doubt or moments that, it's like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this. I'm not saying you can't have those moments, but do you live in those moments? Can you transform yourself out of those moments? I'm actually getting into some of these points, but what I'll do is get into these points now. So WHY. WHY is the acronym for how does your language impact mindset and what can you do about it? So the W in Y is what is your why? The H is how can you transform? The Y is your belief. So let's start with W. What is your why? Now, I know that for some people, it's going to be different. Like some people, actually negative may work for them. My dad was that way. If you were to tell him, he can't do something, that motivates him to where he can. But see, that was his trigger. For other people, it may be different. For me, I don't need negative reinforcement to be motivated. For example, why am I doing this? Why am I here? Doing the videos and the social audio apps? It's because I love freedom and I want to spread freedom. Freedom is not about my brand. It's beyond that. My why of why I do things is because I love creating things. I love helping people. I love seeing people turn the impossible into possible. It's a fulfilling thing, And I love spreading freedom because I see how my life is on a regular basis. I made decisions in my life that allows me to be free today. where I don't have to worry about what am I going to eat or where am I going to live or how can I pay my bills. All that is taken care of with passive income. And so now everything that I do now is based on my passions, bringing my passions with me. I enjoy helping people, so I come on here and help people. I enjoy singing, so I go sing. I enjoy writing, so I write. You know what I mean? I get to make decisions based on what I want to do and not based on, I have to do this to make my bills work. Now, I understand that people are in different positions. Some of you may have families. Some of you may have partners and you're in certain financial situations. I get it. But I'm just a strong believer that no matter where you are today, you're here. You're breathing. You're here right now. That means you have the opportunity to move forward. You have the opportunity to transform your situation no matter where you're at. I strongly believe in that. And I understand that there may be extenuating circumstances for some people, but what's the other choice that we have? Just lay down and roll down? So these concepts that we're talking about of all these different days, like some days has been about creating income. I know Friday we're going to be talking about how to expand your brand without burning out. We're going to be talking about different topics, but this is important too because your languaging, it truly does impact your mindset, your energy, and your action steps. So when I discuss, and for those who are just joining, we are going to have the opportunity for people to come up and respond and contribute and things like that. But I'd like to take the time first to go over some key points, some thoughts. So I'm talking about the why. And this is part of the 3 acronyms to self-languaging. W is for what is your why? H is for how can you transform? And Y is your belief. So what is your why? That can be covered in a multiple ways. For me, I just explained my why of my freedom. You know what I mean? How I saw my dad did not get to do the things that he wanted to do in his life. And we had a chance to have conversations before he passed. I didn't even know he was going to die, but he wanted to do music. He wanted to sing and record music and do these things. And he gave that up for his family. And I believe that maybe he could have done music and still took care of the family. I don't know. It's his journey, his path. But I saw some unfulfilled disappointment in his energy. And that confirmed to me that I was on the right path with my life by wanting to do things that I want to do. You know, life is precious. We can't buy time back. Time is the one thing that we can't get back. Time is the one thing that is priceless. You cannot put money on time. Now, you can use money to help save your time. You can use freedom to free up your time so that you can spend time with your family, so that you can spend time doing things that you enjoy doing, so that you can spend time getting fulfillment, if whether you have fulfillment or not in your life. That's my belief. So what is your why? Why are you doing what you're doing? What drives you? Why do you want to accomplish the goal that you want to accomplish? The reason why looking at the why is super important, that's going to help with your languaging. So even if you have a moment that you have some self-doubting language, when you connect to why you're doing what you're doing, that is like putting fuel in a car. That's going to drive you. That's going to allow you to have that motivation and energy to take the steps to move forward. Now, there's another piece to this why. What if you're someone who says, well, I can't do this. This isn't going to work for me. Oh, I don't know how. Oh, I don't have this spirit. Okay. Why do you feel that you can't do it? Why do you feel that you don't have the experience? Why do you know what I mean? I remember having a conversation with someone and, he mentioned that he didn't have the experience. And I said, yes, you do. You do have experience. And he says, what do you mean? I said, well, what have you been doing? And he was like, wow, I've been doing this since I've been a kid. There's your experience. Just because you haven't had sales in something, it doesn't mean you don't have experience. Just because you haven't had people who paid you money yet and you find yourself doing something and you're good at it, that's experience. And if you want to solve not having experience, then go do something for free for some people and get testimonials. You see what I mean? There's always a way to make something work. That's why what you say to yourself, your self-languaging is so important, because your self-language will unlock your mind. It will unlock options. It will unlock your mind to where it's like, maybe I should try this. Maybe I should try that. And so what if you fail? You will eventually work it out. That's my belief. I seen this in my life over and over and over. You know, just like yesterday, I bought me another car. And then I sold a car. And what I did when I did them separately. So I went to one dealer and they were like, this is all I'm going to offer you. And I'm like, I know I can get more than this for this car because it only has this amount of miles and I'm taking care of it. And it's just a psychological thing for me. So then I went to someone else and I said, look, I've already gotten this offer, this offer, and this offer. I don't need to sell it, but if you're willing to give me this much, then we'll go forward. And they did. If I had sat there and said, no, first one said this, I'm not going to do. I know it's a silly example, but that just happened yesterday. That's what I'm saying, is over and over. Something was telling me, go down to this place. I just had this feeling. And then I called them and at first I was like, I don't feel like going there. I'm just going to go back home. And then the dealership called. They said, well, are you going to come in today still? And I'm like, sure. You know what? I'll be there in 30 minutes. And went there and, they said, well, okay, well, what are you looking for? What's the number that will make you happy? I said, I like this dealership. And I gave them my number. I said, this is the number that will make me happy. and they tried to come 1,000 below. And I said, well, meet me halfway at 500 and we'll go, so they brought theirs up 500. I bought mine down 500 and the deal closed. But I have so many examples. I mean, my life just flows like that all the time, So anyway, but what is your why? What is holding you back? Are there any insecurities holding you back? Are there any, childhood things holding you back? What is holding you back? Like for me, with my singing, one of the things that held me back sometimes was my dad's voice saying that my singing sounded too white. I know. How can you sound too white? You know what I mean? What is that? Or I got to get lucky to make it. I didn't accept that, And although I'm not like a Billboard charting artist, I've carved my music path a different way, where I generate income a different way through publishing and other things like that. And I'm fine with it. I still put out music, meditation music. I have some singing music coming up. I've already done multiple albums. If I was to let what my dad told me stop me, none of that stuff would exist. And now no one can take those things away. No one can take those things away, And if he was alive today, Forbes did an article on me about my music. So if I had listened to what my dad had said, about, you got to get lucky, go get you a real job, blah, 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 blah. None of those things would exist. I would not have met the wonderful people I've met. I would not have done those things. So for you, if you have someone in your life or something in your life or yourself in your life that's giving you messages that is making your self-language turn into something that is making a barrier for you, then it's time to chip away at that. I know that this conversation today is going to inspire a lot of people. I know that a lot of people listening and watching this conversation, this is going to help someone. That's my belief. This is going to help a lot of people. I don't care how many people come in the spaces or clubhouse room or on the live stuff. More people is going to see it than what's here right now. You'll see when it comes out. So the purpose of doing this today is to help bring people mindset freedom. All right. So let's move on to how can you transform? I actually already touched on that. And for anyone joining, I'm going over the three acronyms of your self-languaging. WHY, what is your why, is the W. H is how can you transform, and Y is your belief. So H, how can you transform? Well, here are some of the tricks that I do. I have a couple of different things that I do, maybe three. One of the things I do is energy. Now, I'm not like this all the time, but sometimes I get fired up about something. And if you see me, that energy is contagious. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this. Let's go. All right. Like I get that energy in me, and I'm like, and that energy, when I have that energy like that, I let it go. I don't try to force myself to calm down, because to me, that energy is driving. Now, I'm not saying that everyone has to do that. That's just one of the things that hits me. Another thing that hits me when I'm not doing it that way, because notice today I'm chilled out. I'm not like all fired up, but I'm chill. I'm excited right now for talking to you, but I'm more chilled out. So the other thing that I do is I focus on my why. That's how I transform energy. I focus on why am I doing what I'm doing? What's driving this? Okay. That gives me extra incentive and motivation to continue working on something, even if it seems like, it's not working. And then I say, okay, well, let me try this angle. Well, let me try this angle. It's the power of strategy, which we are going to talk about one day. And I'm a strategist to the point where I just don't give up. Like giving up is not an option. But if you're someone here today and you're saying, well, how can I get myself to transform where I want to be? How can I get myself to that place where I'm moving forward? Well, there's so many ways. This could actually go pretty deep, but I won't go as deep. When you're looking at transforming, it actually goes back to your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? And then it goes to, how can you find a way to take one step forward? I'm not asking you to climb a mountain, just one step forward. It could be one action. It could be, I'm going to go find, a LinkedIn group or a Facebook group or a Twitter space or a Clubhouse room, or I'm going to go find somewhere, that people is talking about a topic that I'm interested in, that I want to learn more about. And maybe I'll see if I can get more information that can help me. You see what I'm saying? You researching and finding the information, that can be your first step. Now, of course, you have to take action at some point after that, but just commit to one small step. And then you accomplish that, commit to another small step. Do what works for you. I can't tell you what to do. You know you the best. You know you better than anyone else. Your voice is the most important voice more than anyone else. So you're going to know your triggers. You're going to know what works for you. You're going to know, like, will it take you longer or will it take you shorter? You see what I mean? So my opinion on how can you transform, one step at a time. Each day, just try to get a little better. Each day, chip away at it. I write about that in my chapter in Success Mindsets, and the word I use in there is non-negotiable. This is what I do for myself. I make non-negotiable things. Like, for example, before I do any of this, usually one of the things I do when I get up, I do my vocals. I do all these voice vocals because I use my voice a lot, whether I'm singing or talking. And so I warm up my voice. I don't care what's going on, I do it. That is non-negotiable. Or if I have other goals and other things that I'm working on, I say, I'm going to take 10 minutes to do this no matter what. Like today, I'm in my gym clothes because as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to work out for 30 minutes. That's non-negotiable. I don't care what else is urgent. I don't care what else needs to be done. That's because health is important. For me, health is wealth. It's no point of us talking about freedom and income opportunities and mindset if we're not gonna take care of ourselves. So to me, that's non-negotiable. So even though there's a message that came on my phone from a family member that says, "Oh, I need help," that's gonna wait. That can wait until after I'm done with what I'm doing now, because this is important. After I'm done exercising and after I'm done doing whatever else I want to do, I like to ease into the day. You know, this is fun. This isn't work. This is fun. So that's how I transform energy. I make non-negotiable habits. Things, what do you have something that's non-negotiable? Do you have something that you're working on, that you're doing, that you can carve out non-negotiable time as you're working towards it? You know what I mean? I just don't accept excuses. Now, if there's a legitimate reason as to why something can't be done, then I work on overcoming those reasons one step at a time. But if there's an excuse, here's a little trick that you can do for an excuse. When I look back at myself, I found myself naturally doing this exercise. For every excuse, every one excuse you give yourself, I want you to come up with 2 reasons of the opposite of that. So if you say, oh, I can't do this, and this is too hard for me, I want you to find 2 reasons of why you can. And I don't care if it take you a few days. The reason I'm saying this is because eventually that will help to transform your mind to where anytime that self-doubt information comes in your head, like you're self-languaging, you have an opposite languaging ready to balance that. That's one of the methods that I use to ensure that I'm trying. It's going to be positive and negative. I'm not saying that you're going to be perfect and that every single thought has to be positive. It doesn't. I have negative thoughts sometimes too. I'm human, but I don't stay in those thoughts. I jot them down and I use it for fuel. You know what I mean? And I get this drive that says, you know what? I'm not going to stop. And then the last thing, and we're going to get to anyone who wants to come up and contribute to the conversation, is your belief. Now, for those who have come in, I've been talking about self-languaging and how it impacts your mindset. And right now, I'm going over WHY, which is the why. The W stands for what is your why? H stands for how can you transform? And Y stands for your belief. Now, your belief is a real simple one. What is your belief in yourself? Why do you believe you can't do something? Why do you believe you can do it? That's why connects to all of everything that I'm talking about. This acronym is brilliant because why connects it all? Why can't you okay, let's say I'm talking to you and you say, well, I can't do that. I don't have any experience. Well, why are you not counting your experience of when you were doing this for a hobby? Why can't that count? And when I had that conversation with someone, he was like, you're right. That does count. I have been doing this a while. I said, yeah, that means you have over 20 years experience. And you can let people know that. You're not lying. Tell them your experience, but don't go saying, oh, I had all these clients. Just say, you know, I have 20 years experience. I've been doing this since I was 8 years old. So that is your experience. Every bit of your experience counts of anything you're doing. Guaranteed there's some people in here, you've been doing some things as a hobby. You may not be making any money from it, but that is still your experience. That is still something that you can bring to the table with what you're doing. All right. So I'm going to open up the floor. I know I see Sophia requested, so we're going to bring her up. If there's anyone who wants to request to come up, whether you're on Clubhouse or Twitter Space, just hit the request button. Fired Up Freedom will be right back after these messages. Do you ever look for certain services or products and it's just hard to find and you want to know if someone else has used that before? Well, visit my resources page, steveryan.com/resources, steveryan.com/resources. Hey, Sophia, how you doing? And hey, everyone on the live. I'll speak to you all a little bit later on. Hey, Sophia.
Oh, hi. You know, I was about to type out your acronym in your reply on Twitter as you said that, but I heard hi, Sophia. But wow, a bit. Hello, everyone, and hi, Steve. It's nice to be on your space, as usual. I do enjoy them, and I was there yesterday after a long hiatus in terms of not being, appearing on the space in a while. And this is a really good topic you're doing today in terms of self-language, because it impacts us in different ways. And most recently, I've been touching on or coming across the topic of affirmation. So people talk a lot about affirmations, and I explain the reason why I bring this up, because when you think about an affirmation, it's a belief which you're reinforcing. That's what the simple, definition is of it. And I think sometimes when people talk about affirmations, for example, I'm just using this as an example because it does happen a lot in the self-help world, and people find it difficult to connect is because they're not believing in it. And you're talking about self-belief. And I think it's really good for your why acronym, especially the part where you say if you feel like there's a challenge or you can't do something, come up with 2 solutions of how you do it. But talking about the 2 solutions of how you could change your thinking or believing in something, I think sometimes it's not just an affirmation which you could say, you could also use other tools. Oh, sorry, I live not too far from Heathrow Airport. I live in Windsor, so sometimes I get planes, so I hope you can all hear me. Just hold on a moment, so you can hear me again. So what I was going to say is sometimes as a tool to help me, for example, if I'm not too sure about something or I need a bit of a booster, there's different tools you could use. So number 1 is it's like a method or looking back at your past successes. So you could have what I call, or you could even create it, use Pinterest or use a scrapbook, but I think it's nice when you physically do things, is use a success file. So what this will be doing, it'll be documenting your successes. It doesn't necessarily have to be work. So for example, in my success file, which I do have an assistant, so I've got like a nice picture of my nieces together, and it symbolises how, I'm a good aunt. That's what it symbolises. So what it's doing is touching on my relationships, how I manage them. And then another tip too could also be as a tool to help you affirm stuff. It's similar to success file. It's looking at scenarios where you succeeded at doing something or confirming something. So say, for example, if someone gives you the affirmation, I'm going back to affirmation again, for example, to say that say, for example, if you've got an area in your life where you feel I'm not that successful, and then someone might say that I'm very good at doing things. There's always proof there that shows you that, for example, that you do have good days. I'll give you another example. So last weekend, I live in Windsor, so as you're probably aware of, what happened recently with, our monarch dying, Queen Elizabeth II, is that it was very busy that day, busier than usual, and I couldn't find a parking space. And I always find parking spaces, and I normally get like a free parking space. So I went to town, and I thought, okay, I'm not going to be able to get my parking space on this normal main road. It means I'm going to have to go to this car park. So I went to the car park, parked up my car, and then I think, okay, now I'm going to have to pay this time when I don't normally have to pay for that park. So guess what happened? As I'm walking down towards the pay machine, some lady stops in her car and says, oh, by the way, I've got 2 to 3 hours left of my ticket. Would you like to have this ticket? And I thought, wow, lucky me, it affirms that belief. I'm always good at finding parking spaces. And it also affirms the concept about how you can bring, good stuff into your life, or I'll be a bit more specific here, how you do get support when you need it. There are good people around. So that was one angle which I wanted to share with you. I could go on about this, but obviously, this is a forum where people are going to discuss different bits and pieces, but I think in terms of self-belief, yes, it's important, and I wanted to focus just now on tools which you could use to affirm your belief and believe that you can do things.
I love that.
It's clear, and it wasn't very that long-winded, but yeah, I thought I used affirmations as an example.
Oh no, that was great, especially did you call it the success journal, the success tool? Was that what you said?
Yeah, it's called a success file. Yeah, so you can call it a success journal, but it's like a tool you can use. So what it's really doing is reinforcing the fact that yes, you can, do it.
I love that. I love that success journal idea because what happens, one of the things that I like to write down is affirmations as well. Like, or when good things happen, I tend to write down to jot down when challenges happen, when good things happen. The reason I write down when challenges happen is because I'm able to go back and look at, wow, that particular challenge happened and I was able to overcome it. And that can give you a reference in the future when you're trying to come up with tools of how did you overcome this, or what was your angle, or what was your mindset? Because life is so much information. It's no way to remember everything. So I love that success tools idea. That is really, really awesome.
Yeah, I'm happy I share that because I think what happens to a lot of us is sometimes we forget what our achievements are, and I think that's where the successful comes into play. It's almost like we downplay what we've done, what we overcome, and even recently, because I was waiting in a very long queue over the weekend, and I got to a point when I got tired. And when I thought to myself, yes, I can do this, because didn't I climb a mountain in Tenerife? And I never did something like that before, and that was really hard, mentally. So then I use, it's a tool of using a reference point. So yes, it can be really helpful.
Absolutely.
Wow, I've done this, I can do it. So yeah, that's a tool to help in terms of, that part of your elements. So it's a really good topic in terms of self-belief, how you talk to yourself, and even using music too as well can be helpful. So sometimes I might have playlists for different things, like playlists, to get me going, revving me up and saying, yes, I can do it, or it might be just to put me into mood or relax. You can even use playlists. There's different tools you can use to help you, get into that setting, that mind frame. Because it's all to do with mind framing at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
About somebody, how do you frame yourself?
What,
also having that self-awareness.
What kind of things do you put on your playlist? And welcome up, Samaya. We'll get to you shortly. What kind of things do you put on your playlist, Sophia? You knew I was going to ask that.
One of my favourites is Mariah Carey, who I grew up with. I really love her music. Make It Happen. I love that tune, Make It Happen. That's one of the ones I have my playlist, to rev me up. So I leave with that one, Make It Happen by Mariah Carey. It's a really good one. Because when you look at Mariah Carey's story, and obviously years later, most recently, I think last year she published her book, and she talks about her challenges. So that's another tool. Read a biography of someone who you admire. I remember reading Steve Jobs, years ago, because I was a member of this book club. But yeah, read a book of someone who you admire too as well, because there's everyone. Because I used to have my own podcast show called The Go Getter Me years ago. Then, we look at people and think, they're very successful, and then you might have a place in your life where you think, this is really challenges. It's easy for some, but we always have challenge in some form of another. And it's like a perception thing, whereby you might look on the outside, look on social media, for example. We have to bring up social media because it's, it's how the world is, these days. And we see these glossy images, and then we have this perception, it's easy for this one. But of course, when we look further, we can tell that everyone has their challenges. Look at Khloe Kardashian, for example. I never really watched that show, but because they're so famous, you hear bits and pieces in the news, about the show. But look at the character, I would say just character, but look at Khloe. She obviously has her, her insecurities, about her looks. Why does a person need to go and use filters for example? I'm not judging her, just using an example. There,
right.
How seemingly someone's successful, but I think the difference between people is what tools do they have, and it's a bit like your Y acronym, which you use. It's having tools available which could help and support you, and obviously know that you could talk about this like your great forum, Steve. Like we do now in this space.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Hey, Chaos, I see you in the live stream. You just tried to come on Twitter. If you're having trouble connecting to Twitter, then just go to our Discord and try to get on the Clubhouse app. It's similar to Twitter. Just download it. By the time you do all that, It'll probably be your turn. And if you come on the Clubhouse side, just click invite to speak, and then you'll be able to speak. Maybe that might work better for you. Oh, there he is again. All right. Hey, Samaya, how are you today?
Hello, I'm doing good. Thank you. How are you?
Oh, good, good, good. Welcome up. Welcome up.
Thank you so much. When I see spaces like this, I always jump in because I think they are so important for everyone, and I appreciate you hosting this space.
Oh, you're welcome.
I wanted to share something about the self-doubt and the talk that we tend to do to ourselves, if that's okay. I have
Absolutely.
something that really helps me. Okay, so what really helped me was understanding where that talk is coming from what part of myself it's coming from. And I learned that from one of the books that I read to better myself and to improve myself. So the doubt comes in when we're about to make big decisions usually, right? So I can't do this, I'll probably fail, and I'm going to be embarrassed, or whatever there is that you say to yourself. You have to, or what helps me is acknowledge that part, but only for a little bit, because you don't want to give it too much attention. Acknowledge it and appreciate it for a second, because that self-doubt is actually talk that is coming from a part of yourself that is trying to protect you from the unknown and keep you in your comfort zone. So if you try and see it that way, okay, this is a part of myself that is trying to protect me. And then I actually talk to that part of myself and I tell it, you know what, I appreciate you wanting to protect me, but I know what I'm doing. I got this from here and I'm ready to do this. I don't need you anymore. And that helps me so much letting go of this fear and moving forward anyway.
Wow. I love that. So appreciate your self-doubt. You know what? I respect that because that makes sense because you know what that makes that reminds me of without nighttime, we won't appreciate daytime. Not saying all of us, but that's just or without going through challenges, it's harder to appreciate the wins. So self-doubt, negative, all those things do have a place in our lives. And I love what you're saying about not running away from it, but you know what? Embrace it. But you know what? Hey, you're up here right now, but you go on back out there to the storage. Go, get out of the room. You can come in the room for a minute. All right. Hey, I see you there. All right. Okay. But okay, you can go now. I have to get back to what I'm doing. Like, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And for anyone too who is on the Clubhouse side, if you click invite to speak, if you want to come up, contribute, comment, anything like that, feel free as well. But right now we'll go to Chaos. Chaos, hey Chaos, I see you in the live stream.
Yes, I wanted so live with you, but I don't know what I have to do with TikTok, so I still have to learn. You see, keep learning, so may you have what you want. And, hey, hermano, congratulations for your new car. Did I understand right? You have a new car?
Oh yes, thank. Yeah,
I will think about when the next when we make business together. I will think about how you deal. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like movies. Like, come on, this was amazing. Thank you so much for having me here. And next time maybe on TikTok with live with Steve, when you don't mind, of course. And amazing what I hear from you too here. It was just wow. And this is, I think, people we need to follow too, because this is knowledge from people that have like experience. They go through really hard times, and maybe you don't have to go the same way that they go, because they are like people that are showing you the way. And I think the first tool you have to wear with when you go outside and build something and do something, what is yours or what you want, is to be ready to fail. That you have to be sure you will, everything you start, you will fail. You will bring it down, you will be like sometimes sad, sometimes very tired about whatever, but you have to be ready from the beginning from the beginning, you have to be ready for fail.
Hmm.
I think, and then is when you get proven how strong you are to come up again and can talk with other people. To then don't make the same fail, but they want to fail anyway in another point, but not at the same point that you, because you are showing the way, and don't have to invent something new. We have everything we need in the world. We don't need more. Money has enough for everybody, or material has enough for everybody. We have what we need, but baby, we are looking for being unique, and for me, you have a difference about being unique and being an individual or individual. Can I say like that? Individual.
Hmm.
Because being unique, I think you are already unique. That's what you are. Nobody can be. Nobody can go inside you and be that what you are. That's unique. An individual, I think we are different, but we are living with others and with other stuff. And you can copy something and make it better. Like Elon Musk, he just take all this. He learned from all the mistakes from others, and he tries to make it better. He don't do the same mistake. He tries to not do the same mistake again. Like the more you know about how it works not only in your life, in everybody's life, and in the history of humanity, you will see the knowledge is that what brings you out from your comfort zone. And you have to be ready for. The more knowledge you have, the more power you have, the more responsibilities you have, like Spider-Man. You know, and beautiful eyes. By the way, you have you have so a beautiful, peaceful human eyes. It's so beautiful that it starts to be like strange, like from another planet, but still like so peaceful. And I like your way to try to move this world in another direction. And this is what I love, and I see it in your eyes. I see it in how you speak and how people speak with you. What kind of people you attract, and this is how we come together again, and so we can go forward. And I would love to have this conversation on TikTok. I am a TikToker. I start to be a TikToker. Thank you so much, mi hermano. Amazing space again, and the why, your formulation, the why is for me now much important than everything. Why I'm doing everything. This is one of that what you said before, but go inside my mind and stay like, why? Why should I? Yeah, amazing. And thank you so much, everybody who know me here, and that I know. I see a lot of you, and I love you, and we will keep together, even if we cannot see it. In TikTok we can. So next time, I will be here around. So thank you, Steve. Thank you for the space.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
All right.
Oh. I see Nathan on. It's funny. I see Nathan on Clubhouse. We'll get to you in a second. That's funny. I don't know where all right comes from. I just love saying, all right. So, Fired Up Freedom is now available everywhere. All right. But I love you. You made so many good points, Chaos. I love it. Like God, I see. I should have took notes because you made so many good points. Like one of the points was, come on, Steve, you can remember this. Like, one of the points that God, he just said so many good points. You was getting hearts and all this other stuff. Like, it was just so many. But no, you're absolutely right. Everything you said, I sign on with because it makes sense. Not letting things hold you back and just moving forward no matter what. Like how? Oh, I know what it was. You said this nothing is new. I mentioned that a day or two ago in one of these spaces where nothing is new under the sun. He's absolutely 1,000% right. 9 times out of 10, someone has done something you've already done. Someone has, not just this century, but centuries before. Maybe it just wasn't recorded, but you may connect to someone in a different way. You may say something in a way to where they just relate. They don't know why they relate to you. They just do. Who knows? Why do someone choose Chick-fil-A over Pie? I mean, they're both fried and unhealthy calories, but why choose one over the other? Who knows? Some people like the taste of one versus the taste of the other. I don't know why I jumped to food. But anyway, Startup Freedom will be right back after these messages. Do you ever look for certain services or products and it's just hard to find and you want to know if someone else has used that before? Well, visit my resources page, steveryan.com/resources, steveryan.com/resources. What is your language to yourself when you start your day? Is your language, I'm going to have an awesome day? Many of you have heard, if you've been in any of my spaces over the past year, I like to look in the mirror and says, you got this. I tell myself that every morning. I just say, you got this. And the reason I use that phrase is because you got this. That means no matter what comes up today, you got this. No matter what goals you want to accomplish today, you got this. Languaging makes a difference. I promise you it does. Whether you believe it or not, I live by this. I know it works. I know it. If you can see my facial expression right now, for anyone who can see the video, and these videos will be up for replay. They're going to be up hopefully more sooner than later, but it works. Languaging works. Languaging makes the difference. Oh, I can't tell you how much it works. The languaging. How do you set up your day? Why are you doing what you're doing? I do just see that someone have requested to come up. We are going to be closing out. We will be back 57 minutes before this time on tomorrow. Now, just to recap as we close up here, today we talked about how does your self-language impact your mindset? Now, tomorrow we're going to be talking about how do you handle other people's energy? And then Friday is going to be a little bit more business-like. How do you expand your brand without burning out? Now, some people may think that a brand is just for big companies like McDonald's. Every single one of us in here have a brand. Whether you're trying to do it for a living or not. Because what is brand? Brand is your reputation. That's branding. It's your reputation. How do you expand other people's awareness of who you are without burning out? Oh, that's going to be a great topic too. All right. So just to recap today, we went over language and how it affects your mindset. I wrote down an acronym called WHY, W-H-Y. Why was for what is your why? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you saying you can't do something? Why are you drawn to want to do something? But asking yourself why. What is your why? Because that's the key to unlocking where you're going, how you're overcoming it. Then we talked about H, which is how can you transform? Which what Nathan just said and what Sophia said and what Sodomaya said, they all contribute to transformation. If you think about it, how do you set up your day? What is your language in when you first get up? Like Sophia mentioned, a success journal. All these things can help with your transformation if you're struggling with trying to change from can't do something to can. All these little tips that all these people mention and what we've gone over, that will help you. All right. And why is your belief in yourself? And what is affecting your belief? Is it someone said when you were a child? Is it someone said when you were in a relationship? Is it something friends or family said? Is it something a stranger said? Now, I'm not going to use this language right now, but I have one thing that will help If you're concerned about other people's judgment and how that impacts you, and I'll close with this. It's 4 words. I don't give a, well, 5 words. I don't give a, You can fill in the blanks on that one. I don't give a, That is one sentence that can really help eliminate worrying about what other people think. All right, y'all, you have a good day. I just posted up the link to the next room. You can see that on Clubhouse, and then on Twitter Space, you can see the link to all the 3 spaces for the next 2 days. So you can go ahead and reserve, come here. We'll be here at the time. So if you didn't get a chance to speak, just come earlier tomorrow. Cool. All right, y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Stay tuned, people on the live. Oh, by the way, I may be going live again during the coaching session. We're going to be having a coaching session in the Discord in 1 hour from now. And what our coaching session is, that's for either our NFT holders or Freedom Coin holders. And if they're working on something, like I see you too in the TikTok live right now. He comes to the coaching session a lot, and some other people. If you're working on something, the purpose of the coaching session is it's like a mixture of coaching and masterminding. And it's not just my voice. Anyone else who wants to contribute can too. But it's like taking action steps to get to your next thing. Like helping to brainstorm action plans, helping to talk things out. Because sometimes when you're isolated, it's very easy to get drowned in your thoughts. So that's what the coaching is for, is to help that get out of that isolation and to help with strategies so that you can keep moving forward. All right, y'all, you have a good one. Take care now. Twitter Spaces, stay tuned. I'm going to leave the space on for a moment because I have to go and plug in the crypto giveaway. In Clubhouse, your crypto giveaway will come at, for some reason I can't do it before, I have to do it at a later time. That'll come if you came or attended, I'll set it up to do a crypto drop to you. For those who are not connected to Social Connector and have your Solana wallet, there is a link. It's also on the Twitter where never mind. I'll tweet it out. But it's on our website too. You just hook up Social Connector and your Twitter and your Solana wallet, and boom, you can do the crypto drops. Boom, done. All right. See y'all later. Have a good one.
Running from myself at times I can't describe the words I try. The fear